Welcome back, Rare Coin Insider. Have you ever wondered if the small dime sitting quietly in your pocket, tucked away inside an old coin jar, or forgotten in a family collection could actually be hiding an incredible secret? Most people never pay attention to dimes because they are the smallest circulating coins in the United States, and at first glance, they all seem nearly identical. They are lightweight, silver in color, and easy to overlook. Yet history has shown that some ordinary-looking coins have shocked collectors by selling for astonishing amounts of money because of their rarity, condition, or unusual minting mistakes. That possibility is exactly what keeps millions of collectors searching through rolls of coins every single day, hoping to uncover a hidden treasure that everyone else missed. One coin that continues to attract attention is the 1984 Roosevelt dime. While millions of these coins were produced, not every example is created equal. Some survive only in average circulated condition and are worth little more than face value, while others in exceptional condition or with rare mint errors have become highly desirable among serious collectors. Understanding the difference between an ordinary coin and an extraordinary one can completely change the way you look at every dime you receive in your change. The Roosevelt dime has a long and fascinating history that stretches back to the years immediately following World War II. The coin was introduced to honor President Franklin Delano Roosevelt, one of the most influential leaders in American history. Roosevelt guided the United States through the Great Depression and much of World War II before his passing in 1945. His leadership left an unforgettable impact on the nation, and shortly after his death, the United States Mint decided to honor him by placing his portrait on the nation's 10-cent coin. The Roosevelt dime officially entered circulation in 1946, replacing the beloved Mercury dime that had been minted for decades. Although many collectors admired the artistic beauty of the Mercury dime, the decision to honor Roosevelt reflected the nation's respect and gratitude for his leadership during one of America's most difficult periods. There was another important reason Roosevelt was selected for the dime. During his lifetime, he battled polio, a disease that affected millions of people around the world. Roosevelt became closely associated with efforts to fight the disease, inspiring the creation and growth of the March of Dimes campaign. Millions of Americans donated small amounts of money, often just 10 cents at a time, to support research and treatment. Because of this powerful connection, placing Roosevelt on the dime carried deep symbolic meaning. By the time 1984 arrived, the Roosevelt dime had already become a familiar part of everyday American life. Billions had entered circulation over the decades, passing from hand to hand across every state. Yet every year of production has its own story, and collectors understand that small differences can make an enormous difference in value. The 1984 dime was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, one of the oldest and most important minting facilities in the United States. For much of American coinage history, Philadelphia coins carried no mint mark. However, beginning in 1980, the Philadelphia Mint started placing the letter P on dimes. This made the 1984 one of the early Roosevelt dimes to display the Philadelphia Mint mark, making it historically significant within the series. If you have a 1984 dime, the first thing you should do is look closely at the front of the coin. Just above the date, you'll notice a tiny letter, P. That small letter confirms the coin was struck at the Philadelphia Mint. While millions of collectors know exactly where to look, many members of the public have never noticed this tiny detail. The obverse of the coin features the left-facing portrait of Franklin Delano Roosevelt. His expression is calm, determined, and dignified. The portrait captures the image of a leader remembered for courage during difficult times. Around the portrait appear several inscriptions that every collector recognizes instantly. The word, Liberty, stretches along the left side, representing one of America's founding ideals. The national motto, "In God We Trust," appears near the lower left portion of the design, while the date 1984 is positioned toward the bottom. Although these inscriptions may seem ordinary today, they have remained an important part of United States coinage for generations. Every letter, every number, and every design element must be precisely engraved into the dies before millions of coins can be struck. Turn the coin over, and you'll discover another design filled with symbolism. In the center stands a torch, representing liberty and enlightenment. On one side of the torch is an olive branch, symbolizing peace. On the opposite side is an oak branch, representing strength, stability, and independence. Together, these three symbols communicate ideals that have been associated with the United States for generations. Encircling the reverse are the inscriptions: United States of America, 1 dime, and the national motto, E pluribus unum, meaning, out of many, one. Despite its small size, every part of the design carries historical meaning, reminding us that even the smallest denomination can tell an important story. One of the reasons collectors admire the Roosevelt dime series is its consistency. While many coin designs changed dramatically throughout American history, the Roosevelt dime maintained its recognizable appearance for decades. This consistency allows collectors to focus on subtle differences between dates, mint marks, strike quality, and preservation. Now let's examine the physical characteristics of the 1984p dime. The coin weighs approximately 2.268 grams. That precise weight is extremely important because collectors often use accurate digital scales to determine whether a coin falls within acceptable mint tolerances. Significant deviations in weight can sometimes indicate minting errors, planchet mistakes, or even counterfeit pieces. The diameter measures approximately 17.91 millimeters, making it one of the smallest circulating coins in the United States. Its thickness is about 1.35 millimeters, while the edge contains 118 reeds. These tiny grooves are not merely decorative. Reeded edges were originally introduced centuries ago to prevent precious metal coins from being shaved for silver or gold. Unlike older silver Roosevelt dimes produced before 1965, the 1984p dime is composed of a copper core sandwiched between outer layers of copper nickel. Specifically, the outer layers consist of 75% copper and 25% nickel bonded to a nearly pure copper center. This gives the coin its familiar silver appearance while keeping production costs manageable. Although the composition contains no precious silver, collectors understand that rarity is not determined solely by metal content. Many modern coins made from inexpensive materials have become valuable because of errors, exceptional preservation, or extremely limited populations in top grades. The Philadelphia Mint produced hundreds of millions of dimes during 1984. At first glance, this enormous production figure might suggest the coin has little collectible value. However, experienced collectors know that mintage numbers tell only part of the story. Most coins produced for circulation experience heavy were almost immediately. They pass through cash registers, vending machines, banks, and countless pockets before eventually becoming scratched, faded, and worn. As decades pass, pristine examples become increasingly difficult to locate. Imagine two identical 1984p dimes leaving the Philadelphia Mint on the same day. One enters circulation immediately, spending years in commerce before ending up in a coin jar with scratches, worn details, and dull surfaces. The other is carefully saved by a collector, protected from damage, and preserved in nearly perfect condition for decades. Although they began life together, their values may become dramatically different over time. This difference in preservation is one of the most important concepts in coin collecting. Professional grading services evaluate coins according to internationally recognized standards. Even tiny differences in luster, strike quality, contact marks, and eye appeal can significantly influence a coin's market value. Collectors often describe an untouched coin as having original mint luster. This shimmering effect occurs because microscopic flow lines are created when metal moves under immense pressure during striking. Once a coin circulates, this original brilliance gradually disappears as surfaces become worn. Finding a 1984p dime that still displays blazing original luster decades after it was minted is becoming increasingly difficult. That challenge creates excitement among collectors who specialize in assembling high-grade Roosevelt dime collections. The sharpness of the strike also matters tremendously. During the minting process, enormous presses force the dies against blank planchets with tremendous pressure. If everything operates perfectly, the design appears crisp and well-defined. However, slight variations in pressure, die wear, or alignment can produce weaker strikes that lack full detail. Collectors pay close attention to Roosevelt's hair, ear, jawline, and facial details. On the reverse, they carefully examine the torch, branches, lettering, and fine lines. Better defined details often command stronger prices than softer examples. Beyond normal grading considerations, some of the greatest excitement surrounding the 1984p dime involves the possibility of mint errors. Every coin begins as a blank metal disc called a planchet. Before striking, these planchets undergo multiple manufacturing steps including cutting, annealing, cleaning, upsetting, and feeding into high-speed presses. At any point during this complex process, something unusual can occur. Sometimes the dies become misaligned, creating off-center strikes. Occasionally foreign material enters the striking chamber, producing struck-through errors. In rare situations, planchets may be clipped, improperly prepared, or even struck on the wrong metal. Each type of mint error tells the story of a brief mechanical mistake that escaped quality control and entered circulation. These fascinating mistakes transform ordinary coins into unique collectibles because no two errors are exactly alike. Collectors enjoy studying these unusual pieces because they reveal how coins are actually manufactured behind the scenes at the United States Mint. For decades, people have discovered valuable mint errors in pocket change completely by accident. Someone sorting loose coins may suddenly notice an unusual feature that turns out to be a genuine mint mistake. Stories like these inspire collectors everywhere to inspect every coin more carefully. Even after learning the basic history and specifications of the 1984p Roosevelt dime, many people still make the mistake of believing that every coin from this year is identical. Experienced collectors know that this is far from the truth. Every individual coin has lived its own journey over the last 4 decades. Some have spent years moving from one cash register to another, becoming worn and scratched along the way. Others were placed into rolls, forgotten inside drawers, inherited through family collections, or stored in bank vaults where they remained virtually untouched. Because of these different histories, no two surviving examples are exactly alike. One of the first things professional collectors examine is the overall surface quality. Under proper lighting, an uncirculated 1984p dime displays a brilliant cartwheel effect. As the coin is tilted, light appears to rotate across the surface in a circular motion. This beautiful visual effect is created during the striking process, when metal flows outward under tremendous pressure. Once a coin begins circulating, those microscopic flow lines slowly disappear. Every trip through a vending machine, every drop onto a hard countertop, and every contact with other coins gradually reduces the original brilliance. Collectors also inspect contact marks. Although coins are manufactured with tremendous precision, they are stored together in large containers immediately after striking. During transportation, thousands of freshly minted coins collide with one another, producing tiny nicks and abrasions known as bag marks. These marks are considered normal, but fewer marks generally mean a higher grade. A coin with nearly flawless surfaces becomes increasingly difficult to locate as decades pass. Another factor influencing collector demand is eye appeal. Two coins may receive identical technical grades while appearing very different to experienced collectors. One coin might possess exceptional brightness, attractive toning, and strong detail, while another may look dull despite receiving the same numerical grade. Because collecting is partly an art as well as a science, eye appeal often influences final selling prices. The color of a clad dime can also change naturally over time. Although the coin contains no silver, long-term exposure to different storage environments can produce subtle shades of gold, blue, violet, champagne, or pale gray. Natural toning is often appreciated by collectors because it demonstrates that the surfaces have not been artificially cleaned or altered. In contrast, harsh cleaning usually leaves unnatural brightness, hairline scratches, or an overly polished appearance that reduces collector interest. Cleaning is one of the most common mistakes made by people who discover old coins. Many believe shining a coin will increase its value, but the opposite is usually true. Professional collectors generally prefer coins with original surfaces, even if they appear darker or naturally toned. Once a coin has been cleaned, the original mint surface can never truly be restored. Imagine discovering a 1984 dime inside an old coin jar inherited from a grandparent. The coin appears dull after decades of storage. A person unfamiliar with coin collecting might immediately reach for metal polish or household cleaner. Unfortunately, that single decision could permanently reduce the collectible value. Professional grading services can usually detect even light cleaning under magnification, and clean coins often receive lower market prices than untouched examples. Magnification plays an essential role in modern coin collecting. Serious collectors frequently use 5-power or 10-power magnifying lenses to inspect every tiny detail. Under magnification, small imperfections become much easier to identify. Tiny scratches, die polishing lines, strike characteristics, and possible mint errors that are invisible to the naked eye suddenly become obvious. The lettering on a high-quality 1984 dime should appear crisp and well-defined. Each letter in Liberty, Indiana God We Trust, United States of America, 1 dime, and E pluribus unum should have sharp edges. Worn coins often display rounded lettering where years of circulation have gradually smoothed the design. Roosevelt's portrait offers another important grading reference. Collectors study the hair above the forehead, around the ear, and near the back of the head. Fine strands that remain clearly visible usually indicate less wear than coins, where those details have become flat. The cheek and jawline also reveal signs of circulation, because these raised areas experience frequent contact during everyday use. Turning the coin over, the torch becomes another focal point. Strong vertical lines should remain visible on well-preserved examples. The olive branch and oak branch should retain sharp leaves and distinct edges. Weakly struck or heavily circulated examples often lose these finer design elements first. Some collectors become fascinated by die varieties. Every working die used by the United States Mint experiences gradual wear over time. Tiny cracks may develop after striking hundreds of thousands of coins. Dies may also be polished to remove imperfections, slightly altering the appearance of later strikes. These subtle differences allow specialists to identify particular die states and production sequences. Die cracks appear as raised lines on finished coins because the crack in the die fills with metal during striking. While small die cracks are relatively common on many coin series, larger examples sometimes attract additional collector attention because they document the life cycle of a working die. Die chips create another interesting variety. When a small piece breaks away from the die, metal flows into the missing space during striking, leaving a raised lump on every coin subsequently produced until the die is replaced. Some die chips become famous among collectors when they occur in prominent areas of the design. Die deterioration is another natural process. As dies wear, lettering and design elements may become less sharp. Collectors who study mint production find these gradual changes fascinating because they reveal how high-speed manufacturing affects the tools responsible for creating millions of coins. Perhaps even more exciting are double dies. During die preparation, multiple impressions are sometimes slightly misaligned, producing noticeable doubling on certain design elements. Genuine double dies are created before any coins are struck, meaning every coin produced from that die carries the same distinctive doubling. These varieties can become highly sought after depending on their visibility and rarity. Another error that excites collectors is the off-center strike. Normally, the planchet sits perfectly centered between the dies before being struck. If the blank shifts out of position, part of the design may be missing, while the remaining portion appears fully struck. The degree of misalignment determines both appearance and desirability. Mild off-center strikes are interesting, while dramatic examples showing much of the blank planchet often attract greater collector demand. Broad strikes represent another unusual possibility. These occur when the retaining collar fails to hold the planchet in place during striking. Without the collar restricting expansion, the finished coin spreads outward beyond its normal diameter, while lacking the standard reeded edge. Such errors immediately stand out because their appearance differs significantly from ordinary dimes. A clipped planchet error begins even before striking occurs. During blank production, overlapping punches may remove part of the metal disc, leaving a curved section missing. When struck, the finished coin displays the missing area while retaining the remaining design. Genuine clipped planchets often exhibit a characteristic effect opposite the missing section known as the Blakesley effect, helping specialists distinguish authentic mint errors from post-mint damage. Wrong planchet errors rank among the most fascinating discoveries in American coin collecting. On extremely rare occasions, a dime design may accidentally be struck on a planchet intended for another denomination or even a foreign coin. Because these mistakes involve multiple production systems, they are exceptionally unusual and often require authentication by professional grading companies. Multiple strikes provide another dramatic category of mint error. If a struck coin fails to eject properly from the press, it may receive additional impressions. The resulting coin can display overlapping designs, rotated images, or distorted features unlike anything seen on normally produced examples. Although such spectacular errors are rare, they demonstrate why collectors never stop examining their pocket change. Every coin passing through circulation carries at least a tiny possibility of representing an unusual event that occurred inside the mint decades ago. Counterfeit detection has also become increasingly important. As collectible values rise, counterfeiters sometimes attempt to imitate desirable coins. Professional authentication services examine weight, diameter, composition, magnetic properties, strike characteristics, die markers, and microscopic surface features before certifying authenticity. Modern technology has significantly improved counterfeit detection, helping protect both collectors and investors. Storage conditions dramatically influence long-term preservation. Coins stored in damp environments may develop unattractive corrosion or discoloration. Exposure to chemicals, household cleaners, adhesive tape, or PVC containing plastic holders can permanently damage surfaces. Collectors therefore invest in inert holders, archival quality albums, and stable storage environments to preserve their collections for future generations. Many people ask whether keeping coins in old jars or coffee cans is safe. While such storage may seem harmless, constant contact between coins often creates new scratches each time the container is moved. Separating coins into individual holders greatly reduces unnecessary wear. As decades continue to pass, locating truly exceptional 1984 P. Roosevelt dimes becomes increasingly challenging. Every year, more coins experience circulation damage, environmental exposure, or accidental cleaning. Meanwhile, the number of collectors interested in completing high-grade Roosevelt dime sets continues to grow. This balance between supply and collector demand helps explain why premium quality examples can become much more desirable than ordinary circulated pieces. Perhaps the most exciting aspect of coin collecting is that remarkable discoveries still happen today. Bank rolls are searched daily by dedicated collectors. Estate sales uncover forgotten collections. Old piggy banks reveal coins untouched for decades. Family heirlooms occasionally contain pieces that have quietly waited generations before their true significance was recognized. As your search continues, one of the most important lessons every experienced collector eventually learns is that knowledge is often more valuable than luck. Many people spend years hoping to stumble across a valuable coin, but those who consistently make exciting discoveries are usually the ones who understand exactly what they are looking for. They know how to identify original surfaces, recognize unusual mint errors, evaluate strike quality, and appreciate the small details that separate an ordinary coin from one that deserves a closer inspection. The 1984p Roosevelt dime is a perfect reminder that even a coin most people ignore can become an educational journey into American history, minting technology, and the fascinating world of numismatics. When evaluating a 1984p dime today, collectors generally begin by determining whether the coin has circulated. A circulated example with obvious wear is usually worth its face value or a small premium, especially if it has attractive eye appeal. Uncirculated examples, however, become progressively more desirable as their condition improves. Coins certified in the highest mint state grades are far scarcer than many people realize, because preserving a tiny dime in virtually flawless condition for more than 40 years is much more difficult than it sounds. Professional grading services have helped create confidence within the coin market by providing standardized grading and authentication. These organizations examine coins under magnification, verify authenticity, evaluate condition, and encapsulate qualifying pieces in tamper-evident holders. Certification not only protects the coin, but also gives buyers greater confidence when purchasing valuable examples. Another fascinating aspect of the hobby is population reports. These reports show how many coins have been certified at each grade level. While millions of 1984p dimes were minted, only a very small fraction have been certified in the finest known grades. That difference between total mintage and surviving top-quality examples is one of the reasons elite condition coins can command impressive premiums among advanced collectors. Auction records demonstrate just how much collectors appreciate exceptional quality. When two determined collectors compete for a beautifully preserved example with outstanding eye appeal, the final selling price can exceed standard price guide estimates. This is especially true when the coin displays blazing original luster, minimal contact marks, a sharp strike, and attractive natural toning. It's important to separate realistic market values from sensational claims often seen online. Most 1984p Roosevelt dimes found in circulation are worth only their face value, while nicer uncirculated pieces may be worth several dollars or more depending on condition. Certified examples in exceptionally high mint state grades can sell for significantly higher amounts, and genuine major mint errors may command hundreds or even thousands of dollars depending on their rarity and demand. However, extraordinary claims that an ordinary 1984p dime is routinely worth millions of dollars should always be approached with skepticism unless supported by documented auction records and expert authentication. This is why authentication matters so much. If you ever discover a coin that appears unusual, avoid cleaning it or attempting repairs. Instead, store it safely and consider having it examined by a reputable coin dealer or a professional grading service. A genuine error coin or an unusually high-grade example deserves proper evaluation before any decisions are made. Technology has also transformed the hobby. High-resolution digital microscopes allow collectors to examine tiny details that previous generations could only imagine seeing. Online auction archives make it possible to study past sales, compare similar coins, and understand current collector demand. Educational videos, books, and collector forums have made learning more accessible than ever before. One of the greatest joys of coin collecting is that every coin tells a story. The 1984p Roosevelt dime may have been minted over 40 years ago, but imagine where a single coin could have traveled. It may have paid for a newspaper, purchased a cup of coffee, ridden across the country in someone's pocket, sat inside a child's piggy bank, or remained untouched inside a forgotten collection. Every scratch, every mark, and every sign of wear reflects a journey through history. Some collectors build complete Roosevelt dime date and mint collections, carefully searching for one example from every year and every mint. Others focus only on high-grade coins, while some specialize exclusively in mint errors and die varieties. There is no single correct way to enjoy the hobby. Whether your collection contains 10 coins or 10,000, the excitement comes from learning something new with every discovery. Another reason coin collecting continues to grow is that it connects generations. Grandparents often introduce children to the hobby by showing them old coin albums or teaching them how to search pocket change. Those simple moments frequently inspire lifelong curiosity. A single dime found today could become the beginning of a collection that continues for decades. Patience is another valuable lesson. Rare discoveries do not happen every day, but persistence often pays off. Collectors search bank rolls, estate sales, flea markets, coin shows, inherited collections, and pocket change because they know remarkable finds can appear in unexpected places. Every search offers another opportunity to learn. The 1984p Roosevelt dime also reminds us how much precision goes into manufacturing modern coins. Every blank planchet must be prepared to exact specifications. Every die must transfer microscopic details accurately. Every striking press operates under tremendous pressure, producing thousands of coins each hour. Despite sophisticated quality control, occasional mint errors still escape into circulation, creating fascinating collectibles that document the minting process itself. If you decide to examine your own coins, begin with good lighting and a magnifying glass. Look for the P mint mark beside the date. Study Roosevelt's portrait for sharp detail. Examine the reverse torch and branches. Check for unusual doubling, off-center strikes, clipped planchets, broad strikes, or other abnormalities. Weigh the coin if possible using a precise digital scale. Compare anything unusual with reliable reference sources before drawing conclusions. Remember that condition remains one of the biggest drivers of collector value. An untouched coin with strong original luster and minimal marks is far more desirable than a heavily worn or cleaned example. Proper storage using archival quality holders can help preserve coins for future generations. As the years continue to pass, the surviving population of pristine 1984p dimes will likely become even smaller. Coins are lost, damaged, cleaned, or spent every day. Meanwhile, collectors continue searching for the finest examples available. This ongoing balance between preservation and demand ensures that exceptional coins will always attract attention within the numismatic community. Perhaps the most exciting thought is that valuable discoveries are still being made today. People continue finding overlooked varieties in old collections, rare mint errors in bank rolls, and beautifully preserved coins in forgotten storage boxes. The next remarkable discovery could be sitting unnoticed inside a coin jar, tucked away in a desk drawer, or waiting in tomorrow's pocket change. So the next time someone hands you a dime, don't dismiss it simply because of its small denomination. Take a closer look. That tiny coin represents decades of American history, remarkable engineering, and the possibility, however small, of an exciting discovery. Whether it becomes a treasured addition to your collection or simply teaches you something new, every coin has a story worth exploring. Thank you for watching all the way to the end. If you enjoyed learning about the 1984 P. Roosevelt dime, be sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss future videos about rare coins, valuable mint errors, historic U.S. currency, and hidden treasures that could still be found in everyday pocket change.